Hey everybody, Nick Espinoza, your chief security fanatic here, and today I am talking about election security. As I mentioned in my last breaches video, I was probably going to start doing a regular weekly segment on election security. Since we are so close to the election, I might actually step that up depending on the news or scale that back. But here is what's going on, because we have quite a bit of things going on around the United States right now. U.S. courts are issuing election security edicts, and I think everybody needs to be apprised of these. Now, this is coming from Cyberscoop and a whole bunch of other publications, but I'm cribbing primarily from them. Legal battles with election security implications are basically just going on across the country over the past holiday weekend, starting around Columbus Day or so, with early voting well underway at historic levels. Last I checked, we are over 15 million early voting, which is essentially breaking records. It's something like 10 to 15% of all the votes cast in 2016. So this is really pitching up to be a record-breaking election in terms of turnout. And so let's go through some of these court orders and laws and edicts and all of that. And with that, we're going to start in Georgia, because in no state did these basically two things coincide more than in Georgia. Essentially, Georgia's basically, we're seeing lines of 10 plus hour waits this past Tuesday. And essentially, this follows two key rulings that happened in that state in the court system. Now, the Northern District of Georgia, Judge Amy Totenberg on Sunday, the day before Columbus Day, denied a bid to scuttle touchscreen voting machines over cybersecurity vulnerabilities. On Monday, she also denied a request to require a specific number of emergency ballots to be on hand at Georgia polling sites. Obviously, if they're getting record numbers and they run out of ballots, that's a very serious issue. Obviously, as it is, with cybersecurity and electronic voting machines, which I recently wrote an article about, and I'm talking about it, and I'm penning another article on that very soon. So that actually, those rulings represented essentially a setback for election integrity, and basically advocates in Georgia are contending that Georgia's machines have not been secure enough and still aren't. So that's obviously a huge, huge issue. Now, Judge Totenberg ruled last year that Georgia must phase out its existing paperless voting machines, citing doubts about cybersecurity safeguards for direct recording election equipment tabulations that couldn't be audited without a paper record. But the plaintiffs contended that Georgia's replacement ballot marking devices, which print out a scannable paper copy or paper record, aren't as secure as hand-marked ballots either. So that's obviously a huge issue. And so in that ruling that Sunday, the day before Columbus Day, Totenberg wrote that there was still, and I quote, fundamental deficits and exposure, end quote, in Georgia's system, and that the plaintiffs, and I quote, have put on a strong case they may prevail on the merits at some future juncture. But she wrote that the state's ability to, and I quote, turn on a dime and switch to a full-scale hand-marked paper ballot system is contradicted by the entire messy electoral record of the past years. And the Supreme Court has emphasized restraint on major electoral changes near the 2020 election itself. Obviously, coming off the 2000 election, Gore v. Bush, a lot of laws were essentially written by virtue of that situation. Georgia, it looks like they're a little bit behind the curve. Now, Marilyn Marks, who's the executive director of Coalition for Good Governance, who is the plaintiff in this suit in Georgia, tweeted that her organization was disappointed in the ruling, obviously, even though it acknowledged the security fears about the state's system. And I've also talked about, cybersecurity and physical security issues with voting machines before. Now, moving on, let's talk about Pennsylvania real quick, because in Pennsylvania, a week ago Friday, Western District Judge Nicholas Ranjan cited against a Trump campaign and GOP effort to block mail ballot boxes and to require precise signature matches on mail-in ballots. So, in other words, basically that was a blow to the Trump campaign because the state of Pennsylvania wants to put in more mailbox ballots, like official, where you can drop off your ballots and all of that. The Trump campaign didn't want that, and they got overruled. So in Pennsylvania, you're going to see more mail ballot boxes, which actually brings us to California, which has a bit of an issue with that, because California's Secretary of State and Attorney General issued a cease and desist letters to the state's Republican Party this past Monday, which said it was responsible for placing unauthorized drop boxes around the basically the counties that look like official ballot boxes, and they also stated that they would continue to do that. Basically, the director, I believe it was for like the Southern GOP of California, basically has a picture of himself with his ballot next to a quote-unquote official ballot box, which is one that they are actually deploying, but these are not official. It would seem like the trick there would be to get people to put their ballots there, and then I guess they could sort them and deliver them. I don't know what they would do with that, but obviously that is illegal, and California may be bringing charges from everything that I've read thus far on the Republicans there. Moving on. Let's talk about Texas, because the Court of Appeals for the Fifth Circuit Court ruled this past Monday that Texas could restrict absentee ballot drop boxes to one spot per county. So basically the opposite of Pennsylvania, where Pennsylvania is saying, yeah, you can put in as much as you want. Texas is restricting that to one per county. I think these things are basically drop boxes for ballots and all of that should be something that is heavily monitored, and obviously they should be official. You shouldn't be able to put up fake ballot boxes like in California, but either way, as long as there's something out there, whether it's one per county or several, obviously several would be more convenient. Obviously the concern for that I would have would be a security issue, that somebody could possibly steal one or break into it or poison it or whatever it is. So those are your election security notes of the week. This is what's going on in various states across the country, and as we gear up for what is looking like a very contentious election, I think we need to keep these things in mind, that hopefully none of the major laws will change on the ground, because that is not going to look good in terms of optics or the letter of the law. So we'll see what happens, but I will keep everybody informed on what's going on, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. But that is your election security news of the week. And please like, share, follow me here on Facebook and Twitter at NickAESP, and please feel free to subscribe to me at YouTube as well. And as always, stay safe and stay online. Thanks, everyone.